Cecile, I can't tell you what it was like for me, my first convention, walking in there and seeing your mother's shining hair way up there on that podium and listening to a political speech unlike any I ever heard. She just held that entire place in her hand, as you know. I'm sure you were there at the time. And ever since then, the dream of the woman president has just been growing and growing and growing. And here we are tonight. With, as I've said before, what Bernie Sanders describes as just the two old white guys left in the race.
Well, it's, of course, I remember that evening, that night. And of course, Lily was there. She was just a child, like 1 year old. But there were actually two other things that happened that night that are, I think, appropriate for tonight, Lawrence. One is, of course, Mom was only the second woman to ever give a keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention. The other had been Barbara Jordan. And I think the record hasn't gotten better since then. And the second thing she said is, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did. She simply did it backwards and in high heels, which I think is really appropriate for what we're dealing with now in terms of thinking about what the women who've been running for president have to go through just to be considered equal to the men.
Lily, you're in a unique position for observations about this, having worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign, the campaign that got more votes for president of the United States than the opponent, worked on Kamala Harris's campaign this year. What's your level of frustration with the woman for president challenge?
Well, look, I think, for a lot of us, the reason it's a gut punch that, Senator Warren has left the race today is that it's the culmination of not just the most diverse field becoming not diverse, but also the most women ever a part of a presidential field, obviously, one by one, leaving this race, culminating in this one today. And I think it sort of cements that feeling for women who run for president that, you have to run twice as fast to get half as far. But I think, too, for many women that I talk to, especially young women who work in politics, it's also like really lit a fire that we are more determined than ever. There are now thousands of people who have worked for all of these candidates who I think feel a renewed commitment to this, this goal of making sure that we elect a woman to the White House sooner rather than later.